Okay, on this part of this video, I would like us to look at a better example on how to answer essay questions on paper 2 economics. So paper 2 economics questions most of the times will require you to divide your answer into 3 parts. The first part is the introduction, the second part is the body, where you are answering the question proper. Then the last part of the question is the conclusion. So when it comes to the introduction serves to be the most important part of your answer, because what you're explaining in your introduction can help us actually understand what the entire essay is all about. So for sometimes I like when students divide their introduction into 3 parts. The first part, which is the open statement, the second part, which I call definition of key terms, and the last part of the introduction, which is the question interpretation. So here I have an example of the introduction to this question. The question says, why might an increase in money national income not necessarily lead to an increase in the standard of living in a country? Why might an increase in money national income not necessarily lead to an increase in the standard of living in a country? So let's begin with our introduction. So for the introduction, I simply started by saying countries always measure national income to know the standard of living. This is what I call an open statement. So the statement is just open with respect to standard of living. Then now the next thing that follows after the open statement is a definition of the key terms. The standard of living is concerned with the amount of consumer goods and services people on average get to consume. On the other hand, money national income is the money value of the output of goods and services produced using the resources of a country over a year, not adjusted for price changes. So the last part now, which is the interpretation of the question. In what follows, it will be a question of looking at why an increase in money national income not necessarily leads to an increase in the standard of living of a country. So we move now to the body of our essay. So for the body, which is the second paragraph, you just simply start by saying an economist work with the principle that because 2 loaves are better than 1, an increase in the amount of goods and services produced represents an increase in the standard of living. But an increase in money national income does not actually mean an increase in the production of goods and services. The standard of living is looked up on the amount or volume of consumer goods and services available for each individual to consume in an economy with some considerable amount of leisure. So now you see we have presented the first part of our answer looking at standard of living. So for this second part now, we'll be looking at the conditions that will cause that will cause money national income not to serve as an adequate measure for standards of living. So one of the first is that the money national income may be increasing as a result of increase in prices, and this increase in prices is the rate of inflation in an economy. These prices may be increasing because there is inflation in the economy, which increases the money national income, but the amount of goods and services itself did not actually increase. And standard of living is accurately measured when there is an increase in the amount of goods and services. So money national income was increasing, but the standard of living were instead decreasing, or the standard of living did not increase. So the next reason is that the population may be increasing faster than the increase in the money national income. So if money national income is increasing, but the population is increasing more than the increase in the money national income, because standard of living is measured by taking the money national income and dividing it by the total population of the country. So if we take a smaller amount of money national income, although it is increasing, and divide by a more high population, you discover that the standard of living will instead be falling rather than increasing. Then the next reason is that the increase may be unequitably distributed. So it may be that the money national income was increasing, but it was just in the hands of some few individuals, like the ministers, the governors, and the rest, but not everyone was enjoying the increase in this money national income. So this did not actually reflect an increase in the standards of living. So you just follow the points like that and explain them in a simple way, as easy as good morning. Then you can move now to the level of the conclusion. And for the conclusion, we simply say all of this is not to say that increase in money national income does not reflect increase in standard of living, but that we should be careful when using money national income to measure the standard of living, because of the many weaknesses involved in using money national income to measure standards of living. Economists and statisticians are using other parameters like life expectancy, mortality rate, length of working weeks, number of doctors per patient, etc., to measure standards of living.